Welcome, everybody. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Just a couple things that Trustee Mack is unable to be with us this evening. And then just a reminder, this meeting is being broadcasted on NUSD's YouTube channel at the direction of the board. The broadcast may capture images and sounds of those attending the meeting. All right, the board did meet in closed session this evening, and Vice President Jacobson will report those out.
Hello. The board met on 4 topics tonight in closed session. 1, with respect to every item of business to be discussed during closed session, public employee discipline dismissal release. This was information only. 2, with respect to every item of business to be discussed in closed session pursuant to Government Code 54957 and 54957.6, conference with labor negotiator Francesca Whitcomb, Executive Director of Human Resources, Employee Organization, California State Employee Association. This was also information only. The 3rd item, with respect to every item of business to be discussed in closed session pursuant to Government Code 54957 and 54957.6, conference with labor negotiator Francesca Whitcomb, Executive Director of Human Resources, Employee Organization, Novato Federation of Teachers. This was also information only. And the 4th item, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Government Code 54956.9B1, name of case, in regard to Jewel Labs, Inc., marketing, sales, practices, and product liability litigation, U.S. District Court, Northern District of California. In closed session, the board voted to approve a settlement with the Jewel Marketing class action lawsuit, under which the district will receive an amount to be determined by the court in exchange for settlement of the matter. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And then moving on to approval of our agenda this evening. There's no changes to the order, so if I could just get approval of that.
I'll make a motion to approve the order of business for the evening.
Okay, first by Trustee Millerick, second by Trustee Lametta. All those in favor? Okay, 6-0. And our consent. Is there anybody, any trustee would like to pull anything off consent? There is a quick change that just got put on your table here. This copy right here, this is item 13J. The only change is it said step 3 for long-term. It should be step 4. That's the only major change to that. If there's seeing none.
I will move the consent agenda, all items.
First by Trustee Millerick, a second by Trustee Pickus. All those in favor to approve consent? Thank you. 6-0 and 2 of our student board members. Moving on to announcements. We'll start off with our student board member.
Good evening, everyone. So last week for San Marin, we had a Safe Routes to School and e-bike meeting, which went very well. We had a lot of community members say they really enjoyed it and they learned a lot about it. And this week, San Marin is doing Inclusivity Week. So the ASB made these little positivity posters we put around campus, and all the kids can see it on their classrooms, promoting inclusivity in San Marin. And it's basically to be supportive with students with disabilities, as well as just providing a positive aspect to our school. And this week we also have our Spirit Week, and we have a rally on Friday, which the theme is Rally for Wellness, which is leading into our Dead Week, which is the week after next week. It's a bit crazy because this year's already been flying by so fast. And the counseling team is playing the rally game versus the students this week, and we got buckets from Peony Hardware, which gave us a 10% off, which is kind of cool. And each year this year we have a different group of teachers performing in each game. So we had our science department, they did a little basketball game, and then we had our English department do a little relay race game, and kids have been really enjoying that, and they're getting along with our teachers and seeing their different personalities outside of teaching, which is kind of cool. And next week for Dead Week, we're doing a Stress Less Week. And we have activities planned out for the week to help kids reduce their stress and stay calm for finals week. And we also have a an event that our Link Crew class is doing, which is brand new to our school this year. And each month they have events for all the freshmen. And so this month they have an event called Cocoa and Cram, where it's for all these ninth graders who have never experienced a high school final before. And so they're providing all these snacks and resources for all freshmen who are curious about like what finals are, and just providing a nice mentor for them. And then we also have a dine and donate all month long at Grazie. And we also have holiday concerts starting this week. And my club this week, called OD Free San Marin, is having an OD Free speaker come to our meeting on Thursday, talking about like what OD Free Marin is and how it impacts our community. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hi, Sam. You want to make sure? Yeah, there we go.
Hi, I'm Sam. I'm the alternate for Francesca. She has a basketball game tonight, so we've been having a lot of MSA events at Novato High. Rock Band had a concert at Sweetwater. Our cinematic arts program hosted a marathon at our beautiful Center for the Arts. We played Christmas movies. And next week, our vocal and instrumental groups have 2 concerts. Then during finals week, we have MSA coming home and the winter market, alumni and current students in this soiree, and there'll be soup and art for sale. Grade levels are doing a lot of dine and donates at the moment to fundraise. There's a lot of local restaurants that are getting involved, and people have been very supportive. Tomorrow there's a mod pizza dine and donate for sophomores, and next week we have a roundtable dine and donate for all 4 grade levels. It would be awesome to see everyone's support in that. Next week is our Spirit Week. We have a holiday, less Spirit Week, very similar to San Marin. We're gonna have a flannel day, a jammies day, a holiday hats and winter color day. We're currently selling wintergrams at school during lunch. Students can purchase wintergrams for other students and share some gratitude. Leadership will attach a candy cane as well. Parents can participate as well by emailing their wintergram message to Miss Searle. The wintergrams are so much fun, and we write every single student at Novato High a wintergram so everyone can feel some gratitude during this kind of stressful time for all students. End of term assessments, previously known as finals at Novato High, are happening in 2 weeks. We are so excited to finally have the same schedule as San Marin. It's been a couple years. MSA, MCP, AVID, and leadership application deadlines are approaching quickly after we return back from break. We're also looking forward to another Spirit Week and winter formal at the end of January. That's all.
Thank you. Thanks. Great job. Trustee Millerick.
Last week, I had a chance to go to the California School Board Association annual conference where 1,018 school districts come together and talk about what's important and what's changing. And for the most part, I followed the track of artificial intelligence and security. So we heard Saul Khan do a presentation to the entire group, plus or minus 10,000 people. And then there were sections on artificial intelligence and education. How do you use it to test? How do you use it to build curriculum content? How do you use it to make sure your students aren't cheating using AI? It was pretty interesting, and it's dramatically changing month by month. And then the other focus was technology and how do we better get technology into the classroom. So those were the areas I followed.
Thank you. Trustee Pickus.
I think I was the one of us who was not able to attend the conference, so I'm happy to learn about what everyone else gleaned. I had the opportunity a couple weeks ago to visit Novato Charter School with Dr. Smith, and really wanted to thank Nikki and her team for showing me around and continuing to try and go to every school and visit and connect with staff at every site. It's a really beautiful campus. It was great to be there. And I also, this week I was with my daughters at Linwood, and they had their book club, which I know a lot of school sites are doing. But they also had a performance with Tara from Love to Dance. And it it was so adorable, first of all, to watch TK and Kinder dancing. But also it's just a shout out to like the many partnerships that Novato has with, Novato organizations. And, Tara comes and my daughter lights up, and it's the reason she comes to school. And, I think when we think about these partnerships that we have, it's so important, and it's small things that help to continue to bring excitement to our community. So shout out to Tara and, all of our community partners.
Trustee Lametta?
Good evening. I also attended the California School Board Association's conference last week. The sessions that I attended focused more on the budget, the governor's budget in the next couple of weeks. Also student health and wellness, mental health workshops. So those were very interesting and very exciting. A couple weeks ago, I also got a chance to visit Marin Oaks with trustee Julie. So that was really great. And yeah, I'm really excited for the holidays and visiting some school sites next week. Thank you.
Trustee Gasson?
So guess what? I also attended the CSBA event, and I actually hit a lot of things that I think we all kind of did really well on splitting up. There's so many different things that you can go attend, and I chose some actually very different categories. I did a session on housing. I did one on special education, significant disproportionality designation, which I'm happy I could say that without stuttering again. Cyber incident accountability, impacts of political divisiveness on schools, which was very enlightening since we couldn't even be civil in the little session. President Butler and I were there on Saturday as well. It continues through Saturday noon. And we got to see Speaker Mark Perna. He talks really fast, but once you catch up with what he's saying, it was pretty impactful. And as a mom of 2 teen kids, he was reflecting on his own, high school experience with his boys, and so a lot of it resonated with me. It was a really good presentation, I felt. And he actually has a book that I'm going to be checking out, and it's called Answering Why. But overall, I'd like to say that, it's not the first time I've attended one of these events or something like it, and I always walk out of there feeling that we do such a great job here. I mean, we can always improve, but we have such a great, we have great teachers and great staff, and we're doing a lot of the things that a lot of sites don't do and really need help with. And so that was just a huge reminder that, we do a lot of great things here, and each school is unique. I also went to San Jose's Turkey Trot. That was a lot of fun, and seeing the field open and being used by screaming kids. Safe Routes to School, the San Marin event was great. I still am reflecting on things that I was told about, like a scooter. You have to actually be 16 to be on a scooter, electric scooter. So a lot of great stuff there. I'm looking forward to the presentation. Was recorded, so that's going to be distributed hopefully soon, so that everybody can get on the same information. And then I was reading Supervisor Lucan's, he has a newsletter that he sent out, and I was surprised and was happy to see he's been working with Olive Elementary, I guess, on a wildlife corridor, putting signs up saying watch for wildlife to alert drivers and protect our wildlife on Olive Avenue. So thank you to him for that support of our schools. And then feels like the holidays are busy for everyone, and we have Hanukkah starting on Thursday. So happy Hanukkah and happy holidays.
Trustee Jacobson?
I also attended the conference. I will echo what Trustee Gasson said, that there were a lot of times where a speaker would ask, are you doing this in your district? And not everyone would be raising our hands, but more often than not, I was, because we are doing things that are considered best practice, which is fantastic. I'm going to highlight one session that I went to that was about social workers in schools and how those are they're people that can be there for students but can also help families and children in a more holistic way. And I'm so happy to see that that's something that we're looking forward to having as well. So that's great. And then the AI session with Mr. Khan was fantastic. There are some really interesting ways in which AI are being used to help students and teachers. And, I think upon first pass, there was a lot of bristle around AI in schools. And I think once that kind of wears off, there's a huge amount of options and opportunities there. Thank you.
Guess what? Guilty. I attended the conference as well. So I'm not going to go. I did just about everything that they talked about. I participated in as well, and been on this board for a while, and I've gone to several of the conferences. This one was really, really good. It was in San Francisco, which helps us financially. We were able to just drive in back and forth, so that helps. Next year it's in Anaheim, so we'll have to figure out all those logistics. But it's super good for us to be able to go as a board, not just to learn and go to these workshops, but it's a team building for the 7 of us, the 8 of us, including Superintendent Smith. It's very important for us to kind of just be together outside of this board table. We can't do that too much because of the Brown Act. We have to be very careful about what we talk about. And we made sure we stayed in our lanes while we were there. But it's a good thing for us to be doing. Just before Thanksgiving break, I was able to get to the last performance of MSA's Follies, and that was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. And the San Jose track ribbon cutting and turkey trot that they held just before break. And then just last week, we had the TK parent night right here, and I was able to come. I just like to come and just see who shows up and what questions are asked and what the feel is out there. And this room was packed, so it was nice to see a lot of new parents here wanting to know what they need to do to register their child and what does that all mean and all that. And our staff did an amazing job. Karen Fremantle was kind of the lead on that with two principal, teacher, and a couple other people here as well, staff members here that were able to answer all the questions, and it was done very well. So thank you to that.
All right. So I wanted to first off start off by thanking Paige for being with us. I think this is your last meeting with us for now until you have to go play an amazing sport and be super busy with that. So we hope to see you soon back. And Sammy, thank you for Sam. Thank you for joining us today. It's nice to have you. Let's see. So I just want to say it's the only thing I'm going to say about the CSBA conference is that it was really fantastic to have 6 out of the 7 board members be able to attend and to commit to being there. I think it speaks volumes to the same quality and level of expertise, commitment that we all have, but to see it from the top is really amazing. So thank you so much for your time for that. About e-bikes, we do have the holidays, as was mentioned. We are going to put out some pictures with some information about which e-bikes might be the best one to purchase for your child, if that's what you're thinking for the holidays. So please check that out because there are lots of differences within the 3 classes, including ones that only should be ridden by 16-year-old and above, and then you need like a M-class license to ride. We are super excited for our instructional technology director, Tim Rocco. He learned so much here that he's going to take his talents to Sac City, the district up north, and we wish him all the luck, and we thank him for his 6 years of service with us. Let's see, in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be talking about budget. We're going to be talking about housing and remaining bond funds. So that's coming up this month. The dashboard, the CDE dashboard comes out this month as well. So December, lots of joy, lots of business items. Thank you to staff members and board members who participated in the tree lighting event downtown this Saturday. We have a couple people at a different tree lighting event tonight over the Sutter Health over there tonight. Let's see. And I wanted to end on this sweet story. And maybe if you want to share anything, Jen, afterwards about this, but we have one of our staff members, Alma, went to Marin Oaks, and I'm sorry, she went to San Marin. She works where? Rancho. And the rules around receiving your high school diploma have changed since the time that she graduated or left San Marin to now. And so we held a special ceremony for her and gave her diploma here about a week ago. And her mom didn't know why she was here. And so she shows up, she sees her daughter in her gown, her cap and gown, and I don't think there was a dry eye in the house. So thank you, Jen Russell, for putting that together.
All right, our school presentation this evening is Novato High, so we'll move right into that. Oh, there's Liz. I see. Right.
Get this for you. You want me to get it? There you go. Let's do slideshow from beginning. Are we good? Let's see. There we go.
There we go. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Tracy and board, for having us here. We are very excited. We sat down for about, I think we had 40 seconds that day, and said, what would we want to bring to the board? And the long list of all the beautiful things happening at Novato were easy to name. And then we sat quickly and said, those are all really beautiful things, but what we want our board to hear is not only something that's absolutely beautiful, but something that we're really grappling with, and we're really proud to be grappling with this. So we're excited to be sharing with you tonight our area around our English language learning program. It's a pretty involved, complex piece, and so I just want to thank you all for listening, and open today actually with Michelle Cortez kicking off how we're going to go about this presentation. Thanks, Michelle.
Good evening, everyone. Novato Diversity is our strength at Novato High, and we really believe that. But we also reckon with the idea that it takes more than just being diverse. It's what we do as a staff and what we do as a community around our beautiful diversity that makes the most difference. So we are proud of our bilingual and multilingual students, and tonight we will focus on 3 different levels of supports, some that are new and some that have iterated several different times over to kind of take on new shapes. And our intention was to provide a student at each level, but it is December, and these are our high school students. So 2 of our 3 students are here with us, and with that in mind, I'd love to introduce Aria Milgoza and student.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I am very proud to work at Novato High. I'm one of the counselors there, and I have the privilege to work very closely with our ELD students. We have, as you can see, it might be tough to see in certain areas, but I'll just share some of our wonderful data. We have newcomers at our school. That means that they are learning English for the first time. So one of my students is here with us, and he's going to share his experience. But in the meantime, I want you to know that the majority of the students that we're getting new to Novato High are actually primarily in the 11th and 12th grade. They're actually older students. They're very brave, courageous, and I'm super proud of them because they're really teaching us how to be better educators every day. Out of our students that are here with us, what I see is that the key has always been creating a creative and supportive environment for our students. I am very proud to share 3, I'm only going to share 3 highlights because I was told to limit, but 3 of my favorite highlights to showcase with you today are, for example, thanks to our Novato Unified Field Grants, we were able to host, for example, a College of Marin field trip just a few weeks ago. And it was amazing because thanks to that field grant, we were able to take 29 seniors who are anywhere between beginning to advanced ELD. And what I'm most proud of is that 60% of those 29 students after they attended have committed to go to College of Marin after their senior year, which is higher than our current high school seniors going to College of Marin or to college for that matter. So things like this work. Another area that I'm very, and by the way, thanks to the field grants, we are also going to be taking our newcomers to the Academy of Sciences in the spring, and we're also going to take our intermediate level students to a team building experience at a local regional park. So thank you to the field grants. One of our biggest highlights that I'm very proud of is what we call our Camp N. That's the first picture that you see at the very top, and that's an opportunity that Ms. Cortez and Ms. Sandra Ramirez, our community liaison, have created, not just this year, it's been going for a while, where we do everything from supporting the students to understanding where Novato High is, like where are the bathrooms, where is the campus, what does it look like, all the way to how to use a laptop, because many times some of our newcomers are coming from countries where they haven't had the opportunity to even use a laptop. So we do everything from wellness. We work with North Marin Community Services, another wonderful partner that helps us do social emotional activities to transition our students. And then the last thing I wanted to highlight is that this year our school counselors at Novato High have a new intake process. That means, and actually I believe it's this button, there we go. We have a new intake process, meaning that as a counselor, when I meet with, for example, when I met Gabriel, one of our students, I met with him and his guardian, and we went through a series of questions to make sure that not only do I understand his educational background, but that I also understand what are the basic needs that they may have. Like, do they need access to an immigration lawyer? Do I need to connect them to the Novato food pantry? Do I need to connect them to a clinic to get their vaccines in order? So we're doing all kinds of things to really support our students, and then we share, with respect to the confidentiality, we do share some key points with the teachers for them to know where the student is at and where we want to see the student go. At this point, I want to turn it over to my amazing student. Quiero presentar a mi estudiante Gabriel. Él es un buen ejemplo de nuestra comunidad en Novato. He's an excellent example of a hardworking student at Novato High. Es un estudiante muy lindo que le está poniendo mucho empeño a su estudio y estoy muy orgullosa de presentarlo. So thank you, Gabriel, for being here and to share your story. So ahora te toca a ti, mijo. Oops.
Hi, my name is Gabriela Alejo Ceriza. I am Guanajuato, Mexico. And 15 años. My first day of school, Novato High, was October 16. Cuando yo empecé en Novato High, me ayudó mucho que había adultos y estudiantes que hablaban español. Antes de empezar mi primer día de clases, fui a una orientación para nuevos estudiantes donde conocí a Germán y a otros estudiantes nuevos. Mi clase favorita es inglés con otros soccer porque me ayuda poco a poco a aprender palabras y me ayuda con mis tareas para otras clases. Es importante que sigamos teniendo el programa de aprendizaje de inglés para que tengamos la oportunidad de aprender inglés y tener mejor trabajo.
I'm going to translate what Gabriel said to make sure that we all understand what he was shared. So his name is Gabriel Alejo Ceriza. He is from Guanajuato, Mexico, and he's 15 years old. His first day of school at Novato High was October 16th, and he remembered that because I remember I asked him. It was October 16th. So good. When I started at Novato High, it helped me greatly to work with adults and students that speak Spanish, and some of the staff you will meet as well in a minute. Before I started my first day of school, I attended orientation, which was a great time for me to connect with my friend, Germán. He was supposed to be here tonight, but unfortunately he couldn't make it. And I also met other new students just like me. My favorite class is actually English with Mr. Zacher, because every day, little by little, he helps me learn how to pronounce new words, and he helps me do my homework in other classes. It is really important for us to continue to have this program for English learners, because this will give me not just an opportunity to learn English, but I'm also trying to improve my work opportunities in the future. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ingrid De Leon, and I'm the full-time EL specialist at Novato High. Ms. Cortez likes to call me the accelerator as I work with our long-term English learners and advanced ELD students to help them reclassify. Reclassification occurs when a student meets 4 criteria, an overall 4 on the summative LPAC, a 40% or higher on Galileo, an English teacher recommendation, and then lastly, parent approval. Sadly, I had a video from a student, but it didn't work. All he spoke to was how I worked with him. How I worked with him at the beginning of the year, and gave him some test strategies for Galileo so that he could go into the test a little bit more confident. And luckily, he was able to reclassify with that score. And so my job at Novato is to help our ELD support wherever I can. So one of the things that I did was create a reclassification presentation and went into all of the ELD classes so that students, teachers, everybody knew what the process looked like and were informed. And yeah, so other things that I do, I pull out, I push in, and I also forgot what I was gonna say. I tutor in all areas wherever students need help. I do Spanish tutoring, so that could be like in any subject, and I'll be speaking in Spanish. And yeah, so all over the place, but just really here to support wherever need be. Yeah.
Hey folks, it's always nice to, hi everyone, it's always nice to be in front of the board. What's up, Jen Marsh Russell? I never get to see you anymore. I miss you. My name's Dan Camber. I'm a teacher at Novato High School. I'm the student data support specialist. And so a lot of my role happens to be very salient to the work that we're doing with our EL department, specifically trying to figure out how we can better support our EL students. This is a growing demographic at Novato High. In school year 2018-2019, we had 110 EL students. This year, it's closer to about 187, and that number is going to continue to grow as the school year goes on. We know that there are certain outcomes that sometimes are ascribed to kids, and we want to make sure that those do not happen. We want to make sure that our students have every opportunity to be successful, to achieve academically. One of the things that we noticed was that some of our EL students were struggling in certain classes. We decided that we wanted to try out this year, and beginning a little bit last year, different kinds of cohort models and scaffolds in specific classes. Two of those places were in government econ classes and in English classes. In government econ, we have a specific class taught by one of our EL instructors that is filled with students who are English language learners. Additionally, we have 2 English classes offered this year that are cohorted by English language status. So if they're newcomers, they're going to be with other newcomers. If they're more advanced, they're going to be with more advanced. We found that this model was going to work for those students to help them not only feel comfortable in class, but also, of course, to continue to work on their English. We also continued a class that we piloted last year, which was an advisory class. It's a class where students can work not only on social emotional wellness, which is something that I had to learn a lot about. And so thank you, Michelle, because you were great at that. And thank you, Allie, because you were great at teaching me about that too. I appreciate that. But it's also a place where students can work on their academic skills. Ade mentioned it a short while ago. A lot of these students who are ELs are not necessarily familiar with how to do school. And this is an important thing that a lot of them need to learn. Advisory is a place for a lot of these students to learn how to do school so that way they can go out and use those skills in the rest of their classes. And the results are as what you can see right there in front of y'all. So speaking for the most recent marking period, M2, if you're like me and spend all day long on data matters, we saw a 31% reduction in Ds and Fs in government and econ for ELLs. The nice thing is that was actually across the board, not just specifically in our EL specific econ class, which was really nice to see and incredibly encouraging. Ade mentioned a little earlier that a lot of the students who are coming to us also happen to be a little bit older. They're in 11th and 12th grade. Government econ is one of those classes that they absolutely must pass, so this is vital for them in order to be able to graduate. We saw a 13% reduction as well in Ds and Fs in English 9 for our ELLs. Also encouraging, given that the stats are clear, the most important year of a student's high school career is their freshman year. And having them pass their English classes is vital, unbelievably important. And we also noticed a few individual students, and I'm delighted to bring you one of my favorites. Students in our advisory classes, in more than a few cases, had the highest achievements of their NUSD careers. And so, in order to tell you all about that, present to you all the one, the only, the truly incomparable Diego Preciado.
Thank you. Thanks, Camber. So I went to San Marin last year, and it was good, but I'm gonna be honest, I didn't do like any of my assignments. And this year I got an advisory, and because I'm like the type of person to just finish it all at one time, advisory gives me like the chance to finish all my work that I have to do. So at home, I don't have to do anything. I can just chill. And then we have these check papers where we put assignments down, which helps me because I get to I can see what I have to do next and what I'm done with. And it's really helped me a lot with my grade changes. And another thing that keeps me in check is football, football check-ins, which Danny Camber here rolls out for all the athletics. Every week we have to turn in to Camber our grades to make sure we're able to play, and that really keeps me in check because I love football. And I'm also going to join MSA Rock Band, and I really need to keep those grades up. So, yeah, thank you.
The last thing I just wanted to point out is that sometimes when we think of English language learners, we forget about the wide diversity of needs and characteristics that they have. And so thinking through what newcomers needs versus what those students who have been in the program for a few years and we're hoping to accelerate to bilingualism is another set of needs. And then also thinking about, like Diego, what are the needs for monitoring and ongoing support of students who have been reclassified? Those are three significantly different needs, and because we've invested in more staff and more resources specifically to the success of these students, we're able to kind of differentiate the supports that we provide for our English language learners. And we still have a long way to go to figure out how to fine tune what we do, but we're really proud of our students in particular who I think are bringing so much relationship and culture and accountability to themselves and to their teachers through these programs. So thank you for listening to us today.
I just want to really thank my entire team over there for coming and sharing their stories and sharing the work that they're doing. I'm just so proud of what we do and who they are. And Diego, I just got to say, I got to do 20 seconds on Diego. I sat next to him when I was in a teacher's classroom, and we were learning about the scientific revolution. Yeah, that was it. And we were sitting there listening to it. And as we were going along, he and his partner were doing great work. And then they kept kind of asking questions. So then I started asking questions. And then pretty soon we were all off task because we were looking up like different explorers and what they're doing and what they're looking into. And Diego was so into it. And it's so much fun to sit next to a kid who's just into asking those, like, well, then what happened here and what happened there? So, Diego, you are awesome. And I don't even know if you need Mr. Camber because I'm pretty sure you're on fire all by yourself now. And just know we appreciate you and all of you for coming tonight and sharing. So thank you, and thank you all for your support. And
That was the right presentation. You picked the right one. That was really the right. No, this was really good. I thought it was fantastic for us. And we know we're serving our newcomers. We know, but to hear their stories and everything was great, and to have the staff as well. So.
Do you have any questions or anything? I know that's a part of
it. I'm giving you kudos. Come on. Okay. Any questions, comments from the board? Trustee Lametta.
I just want to say, Diego, thank you so much for sharing how you've improved and how you found an environment where you can thrive, where you are thriving, and how you are excited about the things that you're going to do with MSA and football. And I just want to also give kudos to Gabriel. He just got here on October 17th, and to talk in front of us, like, That is like such a big deal. I could barely even, sometimes I freak out talking public speaking, but seeing him, I'm like, wow, I'm really impressed. So just wanted to give kudos, and kudos to the staff. This is not an easy job and you're learning, but just seeing how excited you are to learn and continue to grow in your profession really gives me this sense of pride. So thank you.
Anybody else? Do we want to do a photo?
Yes.
Leslie, oh, there's Leslie. Yes. So could we have everybody up in the front here? Leslie will, and Ellen will help you. Yeah. Good job. All right, moving on to our non-agenda public comment. We have two comment cards, but just as a reminder, everybody, if you want to make a comment on either non-agenda or something on the agenda, please fill out a blue card, which is located at the table over there. And each speaker has 3 minutes. You come up to the podium right here in front of the board, and there's a timer off to your left, and it'll count down. And please stay within the 3 minutes. Otherwise, if you go beyond, I will ask you to wrap it up. And for non-agenda public comment, the board is here to listen. We always are. We will not be able to comment or provide anything back to you. Maybe I could ask staff to bring us some more information, but we're here to listen. So, all right, our two speakers are Marisol Nita will be first, and then Maria Jimenez will be second.
3 minutes. Ooh.
Welcome.
Good evening. My name is Marisol Nita, and I'm the proud community liaison at Rancho Elementary and Early Intervention. And I'm here today on behalf of all of the 14 NUSD community liaisons to ask for your support in favor of increasing the pay range for our position. After thoroughly reviewing job descriptions and pay scales of similar roles to ours within NUSD, we strongly believe there's inequality and unfair class system that only favors new positions that work at the district office. Even though our diverse duties and extensive responsibilities closely align with these positions, ours is offered lower wages, and we would like to know why. Our position is currently funded through the district LCFF funds, money the district receives to directly support our students with the highest needs, English language learners, low income, foster youth, and homeless students. We not only provide translation services through the year, we help our families with registrations, parent-teacher conferences, IEPs, PTA, PTO meetings, translating information and materials from school sites, etc. We also support the district nurses, health clerks, resource specialists, and we help psychologists, occupational therapists, and speech pathologists with evaluations with the students' native language, and so much more. We're also key players in the new DO policy DCAN to prevent chronic absenteeism. As a result of our direct engagement with our families in their native language, the statistics shows a huge decrease in absenteeism from our English learners and Hispanic students from 56.6% to 46.1% since DCAN started in September of 2023. Every day, our position upholds the NUSD equity imperative, ensuring our students and families have the support they need. Our work ensures the inclusion of all NUSD families by building relationships and trust between the school and the students' home life. For a district and board that wants to address equity and inclusion head-on, continued support and financial acknowledgement of the work of the community liaisons provide must happen. During the painful school closure process of one of elementary schools in 2021, we helped families write, translate, and speak directly to the school boards. And when our Spanish-speaking families from Hamilton and other sites were misled into signing a petition to start the Healy Charter School in Novato, it was us who empowered the families to publicly speak out against the charter school. We not only engage our Spanish and Portuguese-speaking families, who account for 43.9% of the district student body. We empower families to have their voices heard and included in district discussions. We encourage the board and district staff to come to an agreement in support of the community liaisons at a pay scale we deserve. Equity is a district commitment to our students, but this is an invitation for you to extend this commitment to our employees. We strive for a school culture that embraces caring relationships where people are valued for individuality and where children can grow and learn to achieve their full potential. We invite every single you to come to our sites and see what we do, and we're more than happy to answer any questions you may have. Listening is kindness. Thank you for listening.
Maria Jimenez? Oh, there she is.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es María Jiménez, soy madre de 3 niños, alumnos en el Distrito Unificado de Novato, y estoy aquí para agradecer y reconocer el trabajo de nuestras enlaces comunitarias. He tenido la suerte de conocer algunas de ellas durante 4 años que he estado viviendo aquí en California, y cada una de ellas se distingue por su labor incansable y su calidad humana. Y muy de cerca a nuestro enlace comunitario en Rancho Elementary, porque he estado ahí por 4 años como madre. I'm so sorry. I can speak English, but when I am a little nervous, I prefer to speak Spanish. Yes, please.
Okay, so comenzamos de nuevo. Can we start over, Ellen, please, so that we can pause? Yes. And that's fine. I just didn't catch the first part of her statement. So cada cierto tiempo tienes que parar para poder yo traducir.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll start over.
Okay, thank you. Buenas noches. Mi nombre es María Jiménez. Soy madre de 3 niños, alumnos aquí en el Distrito Unificado de Novato.
Good evening. My name is Maria Jimenez, and I'm a parent to 3 students here at Novato Unified School District.
Estoy aquí para agradecer y reconocer el trabajo de nuestras enlaces comunitarias. He tenido en 4 años la suerte de conocer algunas de ellas.
I am here to give gratitude and to acknowledge the work that the community liaisons have done for the district. I've had the pleasure of working with them over the last 4 years.
Cada una de ellas se distingue por su labor incansable y su calidad humana.
Each one of them can be distinguished by their human qualities and their warmth.
Muy especialmente y muy de cerca he podido conocer el trabajo de nuestro enlace comunitario en Rancho Elementary, Marisol Nita.
I can especially speak to the community liaison at Rancho, Marisol Nita.
Como madre he podido apreciar de cerca su trabajo apoyándonos con soporte para el crecimiento académico de nuestros hijos.
As a parent, I've been able to closely see and appreciate the support that she provides us as parents to be able to support our children academically.
Asesorándonos y guiándonos en las diferentes áreas académicas y en su camino hacia la reclasificación.
She guides us and supports us in guiding them academically and on their path to reclassification.
También ha desempeñado una importante labor para lograr nuestra integración a la comunidad escolar.
She also has worked tirelessly towards bridging the gap between the school communities.
Escuchándonos y siendo portadora de nuestra voz para que nuestras necesidades sean escuchadas.
She listens to us and gives us a voice to our needs.
Sin ellas, nuestra integración sería mucho más difícil.
Without them, integrating into the school culture would be so much more difficult.
También las he visto trabajar más allá de su tiempo, apoyándonos a todas las familias con necesidades especiales.
I have seen them work beyond their work hours to be able to support families with students with special needs.
Buscando recursos.
Looking for resources.
También la he visto trabajar muy de cerca en nuestra comunidad. Cuando las familias hemos estado preocupadas por diversos eventos que envuelven a todo nuestro distrito, como fue el caso cuando hubo la posibilidad de cerrar una escuela.
I've seen her work tirelessly and closely with the community in regards to issues that pop up for the community. For example, when there was the discussion about potentially having potential school closures.
Escuchándonos y ayudándonos a traducir cartas y siendo nuestra voz una vez más.
Listening to us, helping us to write letters, and once again being our voice.
Hay muchísimo para decir de su trabajo.
There's so much to be said about her work.
Quiero decir gracias por el trabajo de las enlaces comunitarias, todas ellas.
I want to say thank you to all the work that the community liaisons do.
Y mi petición es que pueda ser reconocido su trabajo para que tengan una mejor calidad de vida en el tiempo que les queda.
And I ask you to recognize their work and their hard work so that they can lead a better life within the district.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to both of you for coming out and speaking before the board for this evening. All right, that concludes our non-agenda public comment. We'll move into our discussion action items, and the first one is our approval of our 23-24 school plans for student achievement for all of our 13 sites.
All right. Good evening. Good evening, members of the board, student representatives, and Superintendent Smith. Tonight it is my privilege to present our administrative team to review their school plans for student achievements. These plans have been created by staff with input and feedback from our students, our parents, our community members, our certificated and classified staff members as well. And these plans really help us focus and set goals for the school year. And they address kind of three main areas, including academic and instructional supports, social emotional learning, and attendance. And this evening, each school is going to highlight 2 successes from last year and 1 change from this year. And we're going to begin with our high school team. And so I'm going to call each high school principal up, and then they're going to sit down. And after their presentation, we can ask questions for them. So we'll have not everybody gathered around the podium here this evening. So if you could please hold your comments or questions till the end and kind of jot those down. And just one of the couple quick things that I want to talk about for before we turn this over are some common elements for all of our NUSD schools. This year, we're really trying to focus on coherence and collaboration, so among our teams and really building senses of team. Again, reaching out to our community, gathering feedback, input, and truly partnering with our families and community members. And again, as you've heard previously, we've had a significant focus on attendance and making sure our kiddos are coming to school. And some of the common elements for the high school that we'll see tonight is a focus on college and career readiness, a commitment to wellness, which you've heard in our presentations, and increasing student voice and engagement. And so the first administrator that I'd love to bring up tonight is Dr. Larson, and she will present for San Marin.
Thank you so much, and wonderful to be here tonight. I know we have quite a few, and so we have a very tight time limit. So we're going to go quickly, and I'm going to go backwards. I'm going to start with the one we're changing and then the 2 successes. And part of that is our biggest change in our goal specifics are around our focus goal. And so we really see the foundation of all the rest of our goals in our SIPSA is around equity and ensuring that our students have a voice in school and that we're really working towards a school culture that students feel valued, heard, and a part of the everyday workings of our school. For this goal, we've had a lot of input through our WASC process and through our equity audits. And as you may have remembered from last year, Anthony Muhammad gave us some specific items that he really recommended. And in his work with us last year, we identified as a staff that the place we really need to focus is how do we as adults have those difficult conversations in order to make true change? Are we asking ourselves and reflecting on those hard questions? And do we have the capacity to do that? So this year, we're actually working with a partner. Her name is Tanisha Tate, and she's been a great coach for us and works with many school districts. But it really is the focus of every single one of our staff meetings. We're working through 2 different protocols. The first is around how do we have those critical conversations as adults, right? Can we get into a conversation and ask hard questions and be honest with one another? The second piece of it is looking at street data, which is we spend a lot of time looking at things like Galileo data, assessment data from CASP, grades. But are we really looking at day-to-day information from how the students are experiencing school. And so a lot of the data that we're collecting this year and analyzing this year is specific to student voice. So student panels, interviews, focus groups. We're going to be engaging the students in what we call agency surveys. So do they feel agency in our school? Do how we believe they feel mirror what they're actually experiencing? And so that's a lot of the work that we're doing at the foundation so that we know where those big changes need to be made. And then some positives from prior goals. One is the Wellness Hub, so our culture of caring. We developed a wellness hub, and it's the first time at San Marin that we've had a wellness space. It's in the center of campus. Many of you have had the opportunity to come and visit. It is fully staffed. We have a full-time social worker and a navigator in the space. And the goal for this year is to move that forward so that we have regularly established services in the space on campus so that students don't need to go out into the community, that we can actually bring the community into that hub. Starting with the teen clinic. Obviously, we have our support dogs on campus once a week. We have the Q groups coming from the SPAR Center. So establishing regular schedules where students can start to be served on our campus. Moving forward from that, obviously, just an incredible increase in the wellness services and just promoting all things wellness throughout the school day, making sure students feel supported. I think you already heard from Paige, but next week is Stress Less Week, so a real focus on making sure that we have supports for students. The second is the beginning of our PBS program. So we have positive behavior intervention systems. We started last year, and we're really proud to have that up and running. So we have our Mustang Show Pride, which is our acronym for how positive behavior looks in each space. Our students and staff do weekly lessons to go over and remind students of what positive behavior looks like. We've brought back both academic and behavioral award ceremonies, which we haven't had since long before COVID. And just looking for opportunities for us to praise students and remind students that we want to have a positive environment. And for the most part, we want to make sure our students are able to be successful in that way. Last but not least is the integration of Swiss data, which is a great opportunity for us to collect, again, that day-to-day behavioral attendance data so that we can be making in-the-moment decisions about what we need to do next. A lot of information, very, very quick. I think I kept it to about 2 minutes. I'll step aside.
That's impressive. All right, I would like to introduce Dr. Seabury. Again.
And I can probably be even quicker, only because we're actually beginning the WASC process. And the WASC process sets up your kind of 6-year study of what you want to do. And then the SIPSA is that what are you going to do every year from your WASC. So because we're in this kind of in-between space, and because I'm new, our SIPSA this year really is just a rollover of last year, why we're getting ready to set up for our WASC. So our 2 big areas of success from last year, the first one, same thing as San Marin, just getting that wellness space on campus, getting it staffed, and then beginning to integrate that into the day-to-day operations of students. So we have Wellness Thursday videos, we have Wellness Wednesday lunchtime activities, and then just really having the wellness staff be an integral part of ways that we can connect with kids. It's just another set of adults on campus where if we have a check-in, check-out that we need to have done, which is kind of a tier 2 level intervention on a kid, we've actually brought wellness in to help lead some of those, as well as our cost, which is coordination of service team. We have a kind of a new cost team that's working at Novato, and it's pretty high functioning for as new as it is, and it's facilitated through kind of the lens of our wellness team. So that's some of the success we're seeing over in wellness land. Luckily for you, our second great success, because I did this before we had that really cool meeting, has to do with our English Learner Network and support system. So you got to hear all about that already, and it really is, it's an area of growth success. And I'm thrilled to kind of see the ideas as they come along. It's almost like a daily thing, like, oh, what if we try this? And then see what the data is. Oh, that seems to be working. Let's try this. So it's been exciting to be a part of that and seeing it grow from the beginning of this year. What's new? Me? And everything else. And so really what I've done this year with starting at Novato is kind of taking that 6 steps back and saying, who are we? And what's our purpose? Like, what are we doing? What's our reason to get out of bed every day and come do this job that we can really wrap our hearts and our minds and our souls around? So we've been spending since the beginning of the year kind of playing around with what's a purpose statement, kind of letting go of the mission, vision, all that kind of stuff. It's like, what are we doing here? And so it took us some time. It took us some pretty good crafting, but we have come up with Novato High fosters a creative and inclusive community. And those were hard words to just say that that's where we're going to land. But that's really the guts and the soul of what we want to hang everything over the next 6 years of our WASP plan on. A creative and inclusive community where we work together, we grow, we learn, we access experiences to become our most authentic selves in a path that fits our needs. So we're super excited about this, and it's super new, like about 2 weeks ago. So seeing where that takes us with my new school leadership team, our SLT is a collection of teachers who are really interested in designing a professional learning path that creates that purpose. And then really understanding what it means to have strong relationships and inclusion in the classroom. I have a group of students that I meet with probably once a month. I have about 20 and it keeps growing. Kids who are interested in just talking about what's going well and what they want to see different at Novato High School. And that group, I have to say, as far as bringing in the student voice, is really working heavy on setting our stage for where we want to go, very much like what Jen was talking about happening at San Marin. So that's where we've been and where we're going. Woohoo!
Okay, and I'm going to introduce Jennifer Russell. Unfortunately, Kessa Early could not be with us this evening, and thank you so much for filling in.
Hi, so I'm going to present on Marin Oaks and Nova. So first we have Marin Oaks, and for both schools, we really use our SIPSA for how we do school. So our Goal 1 celebration is that we still heavily focus on the graduate profile at Marin Oaks, and so we focus on one of the 6 C's each month. Students are given a lesson, and then they have them during the month, teachers observe and recognize students that have demonstrated that trait, and then they're honored and celebrated at a luncheon or some kind of fun activity. Our second celebration goal, our goal celebration, is that we really are using data to effectively and efficiently serve our students. And with the COST team, which is Coordination of Services team, our PBIS, Positive Behavioral Interventions, our multi-tiered systems of support, and our data specialist, we're really doing a deeper dive on the students that end up at Marin Oaks and looking for where their strengths lay and where the weaknesses were in their educational journey that kind of led them to Marin Oaks, so that we can better support them. And that provides consistency for our students and our staff, and kind of a direction. These goals provide that direction for the way we approach school and the supports that we embed and the enrichment that we offer to support students. And then what's new, we're really excited that we are participating in the Magnolia Project. 20 seniors, our early graduate seniors, took part in a 4 half-day internship prep, which is kind of like career skills, like interviewing and how to dress and how to complete paperwork to get the job. And then they did a 2-week internship off-site where they were not at our school during those 2 weeks, and they went directly to their internship. And then they came back and they prepared presentations and did their senior project, which is based on the 6 C's as well, the graduate profile, in their advisory. And next semester we have 35 students participating. And it was a great experience, and the partners, many showed up to watch the presentations. So that's Marin Oaks. We can move to Nova. Oh, I do it. Okay, sorry. All right, it's been a long day. Okay, so with Nova, again, our SIPSA, having just done our WASC in both schools, our SIPSA really was a huge part of our WASC review. We got a 6-year clear, which is exciting, or 6-year accreditation, which is exciting. And since I'm there, I'll start with what's new. So we noticed that 6th grade kind of is a struggle for students to do independent study. So we have incorporated our 6th graders in our daily instructional model instead of the 1-hour weekly model. So we'll see how that works out for our students at the end of this year. But so far, so good, and they're really enjoying it. And we're doing field trips and bi-monthly in-person activities. We also have created our PBIS matrix and posters, and our teachers are using a self-reflection for students to self-evaluate where they fall in the I am accountable, I am respectful, and I am responsible, to become better students, and to hopefully our attendance is based on work completion. So we really need our students to be keeping up with their weekly workload, and so it's to help them become more efficient at that. So our Goal 2 celebration, so we celebrated Goal 2 and Goal 3. So Goal 2 was our support for students and wellness, and because so many students arrived to Nova or switched to Nova after COVID, many came for reasons, social emotional reasons, anxiety reasons, so we really wanted to make sure we had the support in place to help them, but many of them weren't students that traditionally would have sought out independent study, so we also needed to provide support with the academic load. Our Goal 3 celebration is that we focused on getting kind of more engaging math curriculum and having students use the Galileo results as kind of goal setting, and having teachers and the data specialists helping us look at weaknesses and really focus on intervention. And we saw our CAS scores in math go up to 35.13%, and in ELA, 65.86% of students met or exceeded standards, which was both were up from the year before. And that, I think, is it.
Does the board have any questions for any of our high school principals?
Trustee Miller?
First, congratulations on the WASC accreditation. 6 years is very powerful, firm affirmation of the program. Thank you for that. The second is on the Magnolia project. That Magnolia project, you said 35 students were able to participate in.
Next semester, 35 will. 20 participated this semester.
Well, congratulations on that. That we, at the board here, that wasn't that long ago, we said this is a good idea, let's see how it goes. I'm glad to be talking about it with good results coming in, as opposed to just a promise about how it's going to go in the future. And that the sharing businesses came down and actually participated on campus is a sign that Novato stands up for its schools.
Yeah.
And thank you for being our representative in that. Thank you.
Absolutely, and thank you for your support on that as well.
Anybody else? Trustee Pickus?
Just a quick comment that I really appreciate putting student voice central to this work. I mean, I've worked with all three of you in various contexts, and I know how important that is to you. And I think in a lot of contexts, sometimes people pay lip service to giving students voice, but it doesn't actually have a lot of meaning. But through here and through what I've seen you do elsewhere, I really think that's so important. So thank you.
Trustee Gasson?
I thought it was really well done. I actually appreciate the thread of the wellness going through that. As we all know, just coming from COVID and everything, I think it's just really key. And I appreciate all of the care that you took in developing the supports that we have at our schools. One thing in a just general context, and it's something I've been thinking about before I went to the CSBA event. One of the first things is that we talk about focusing on college and career readiness, and maybe if there's a way that we can change that to college and or career readiness, because I think mindful that there's a lot of opportunities for our students, and just to put them in the best position possible to get to where they want to be in life is great. So thank you for all the work that you do, and I know it's very time consuming too. So.
Anybody else? Okay, we'll move on to middle school. Thank you, high school principals.
Okay, oops, sorry. I
Jen,
forgot this.
thank you.
Okay. Wanted to talk about a few of the common elements for our middle schools as well. Again, creating a sense of belonging for all of our students, focusing on safety and making good choices, and establishing academic strategies for future successes. So again, you're going to see that woven throughout our SIPSAs. And I'd like to introduce Principal Stalker for Sinaloa.
Thank you for having me. I think I am going to need my reading glasses. That is occurring in my life these days. I have been in this role for 4 months, so I still have a lot to learn, and I had to do a lot of inquiry, research, and data diving to look at last year's SIPSA to see what some of the goals were and to identify where some of the successes were. So actually it was a really good process for me to go through to be able to see what was planned for last year, what we did with that, and what some of those outcomes were. So it ended up being just a very good foundational piece for me to go through this process. Where I have landed in terms of our successes seems to settle in the math and sciences into the categories that I was looking at. One of them was looking at our increased in math scores. I think the goal was to increase the CAFS scores by 10%, and my formatting got off, but there was an 11% increase in math, so we met our target. And really I was able to attribute that to 3 key areas where we were focusing on math last year, which is multi-tiered systems of support, teacher check-ins and student conferences, parent conferences, positive rewards, a lot of pull-out and push-in support that's coming also through specifically our ELD students in class, that they're getting support within the regular math classroom with that push-in support. There's also a math intervention class that we're doing this year as well as last year that seems to be a really critical piece for providing that level of support that is taught by grade level. And students are reassessed at each progress reporting period. We're looking for those students who are at risk of not being successful in that math class, and they're getting pulled out of their elective wheel or their elective piece for that period and working in an intervention class to build up those skills with the idea of then reintegrating back into their elective piece, and then more kids coming in as we see additional ones in the next round needing that support. So that's something we're continuing this year, which seems to be a really positive program. Last year, which we do not have this year, we also had an after-school math intervention class that I'm sure contributed to this progress as well. There's also routine data collection going on our campus with Galileo, DESA, taking a look at the DNF list every 6 weeks, and also holding conferences with our students. I was actually checking in with our counselor on this process currently that we're in. She has developed a goal-setting piece for students who are on that list that she meets with and works on setting goals, and then has bi-monthly check-ins with that student to help them assess their progress and discuss strategies for how to move forward. And so that, I think, has been pivotal as well. Our ELD program, as I mentioned, we do have 1 EL specialist. Last year, we have 2 this year. We have 4 ELD sections, 1 for each separate level, with push-in support that those specialists are doing both in math as well as reading. So those students are getting a lot of extra boost in those courses. So one thing I did notice that was interesting was we did achieve our goal last year for the increase in math on CASP, but not in ELA. And what I noticed in my data diving is some of the reading specialist intervention plan they had for that did not happen last year due to funding, and the one that did happen was math. So I thought that was telling. The second success is taking a look at the progress the school has made in proficiency-based education, and looking at that is really looking at identifying those essential learning targets and looking at the subject areas and the work they did last year. Math and science really stand out on our campus as really having done exemplary work, really showing excellent collaboration, working together, partnerships, and really taking the process to a very deep level. And when I step into the classrooms at the start of my year this year, there's proficiency scales in some of those classrooms already on the walls. The teachers are referring to them regularly. The kids understand what they are. That's unique to math and science, and we're in the process this year of getting our humanities classes to that same point. Our success, or our focus for this year, which I can speak a little bit more knowledgeably about since this is very, very new to our campus. We just learned, I don't know, a month and a half ago, that Leadership Novato had approved a grant that was in place or in progress before my arrival. The PTSA had their hand in submitting that grant in conjunction with some of our staff members to put together a proposal for a wellness center on our campus. And lo and behold, we were one of 3 of 14 applicants that were awarded the Leadership Novato grant. So we're really excited, and PTSA has a good chunk of money to put toward it as well. We have this amazing team that we're already working with and have identified a new space on campus for it. The original space was going to be the portable in the back of the campus, or off to the side, I should say, out of sight, out of mind. And I felt really strongly that our wellness center should be like front and center of the school. So we do have a beautiful classroom that is going to be renovated. We're in the process right now of moving one teacher out into a new space that Leadership Novato has helped set up to make that teacher comfortable with her transition. And we'll be forward-facing the open courtyard, very close to our attendance and main office buildings. And then piggybacking on that is going to be developing a separate space that's kitty corner that will be an academic center to separate from our wellness center and can be fully staffed thanks to our superintendent and I'm sure the board's conversations about expanding our counseling services on campus. So instead of 1 full-time counselor, we're working towards having 2.4 counselors. We currently have 1.4, but once we fill the other position and this opens in April, we'll be able to fully staff both the academic center and the wellness center. So I'm really excited about where we're headed.
Oops. Sorry, went a little too fast there. Would like to introduce Principal McEachern for San Jose Middle School.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having us this evening. I am not new to San Jose, but new to my role. So this was a really wonderful learning experience for me, having a heavier hand in developing our SIPSA this year. And I had the absolute pleasure of getting a lot of parent and guardian voice as we prepared it, always student voice, and of course hearing from our staff as well. So to begin with our successes, to echo what the high school principals and Christy said, we are so proud of our PBIS work this year. We actually already had a really incredible kind of student and leadership driven positive reward system, if you will, focused on our vision, where we empower and inspire one another to be lifelong learners, community builders, and change makers. And that's sort of shifted to a shorter way of saying it, that we are Scorpion Strong. So we have our Scorpion Strong system. It's at the bottom of every single planner. It's in our morning announcements. It's in my newsletter. We're staying it every day on campus with the kids. We have little note cards that sending good old snail mail home, telling the parents and guardians when their students have been Scorpion Strong, and really embodying our vision and also our expectations across campus. So we have strengthened our Scorpion Strong system, and what's really wonderful is that documented in every single student planner, which we encourage our parent and guardians to review, is our school-wide expectation matrix. So really, wherever you are on campus, there are really clearly outlined expectations for students, so they know what to expect of themselves, what we expect of them, and then what we can expect from one another. It's so fun being on our campus and experiencing the focus on PBIS. You know, during a Spirit Week, we might have kids using their scholar dollars that they earn to get crazy hair spray paint in their hair. They can earn a movie at lunch and use their scholar dollars to buy popcorn to enjoy the movie. We had a really fun glow dance for the entire school during Red Ribbon Week, where we gave out special red scholar dollars, and every single student earned enough scholar dollars to attend the glow dance if they so chose. So we're really emphasizing recognizing kids for the positive behavior that they exhibit on campus, and making sure that we're bringing our parents and guardians into the loop and they know when their students have been recognized through the Scholar Dollars, the little note cards home, and Student of the Month. Also, something near and dear to my heart is our AVID program, having been one of our AVID teachers and program coordinator. And this year we grew again back to having it all 3 grade levels, 6th, 7th, and 8th, which is a real blessing on our campus. So we're really focusing on getting students in that elective who really need to be there. It stands for Advancement via Individual Determination. So focusing on those kiddos who might be first generation college students, students who really need to focus on their writing, inquiry, collaboration, organization, and reading, and looking at our rising 6th graders, going to our feeder elementary schools and seeing which of our kids would be a really great fit for this program. So it's really great to have it at all 3 grade levels. And then an area, which is an area of focus, is also a GLOW, a success. This last year, we looked at our ELA and math test scores for Galileo, the end of year results. They take it at the beginning of the year, boy, and the end of year, EOY. And we had growth in both ELA and math for our students who were meeting and exceeding standards. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. So our areas of focus, we want to continue our focus on proficiency-based education at San Jose Middle School. A group of us administrators actually just went through a really incredible professional development day with a PBE representative, and we received these really great checklists. And so a goal of ours, especially in the second semester, is to use those as a guide so we know what to expect in and out of the classroom. And students have a lot of understanding of where they are with the proficiency scales, where they are with the standards being addressed, and what their journey looks like as they move forward. And we also want our staff to be really well equipped in supporting our students with PBE, because it continues to be a learning process for all staff members involved. Another area of focus for us is our culture of competence. Based on our assessment data, we have decided to shift what has formerly been known as our Scorpion Success Center, which was sort of like a drop-in homework help session after school, and it's become more of a Scorpion Success Intervention. And we are actually really targeting our students based on our assessment data. So we're looking at Galileo, CASP, for math Mars task data, and then getting teacher feedback about how the students are doing with progress in class. So it's much more targeted, much more measurable, and data-driven versus more of a free-for-all where kids could just drop by and we didn't really have a whole lot of data to work with in terms of how we were supporting our students and improving. And then last but not least, continuing to build our culture of caring. We've heard a lot from our parents and guardians that they really love being on campus. They want to be on campus more and be around the staff and the students more. And also developing evenings and parent education moments. Our ELAC group in particular expressed that one of their biggest challenges is supporting their students at home with the systems that are in place that their students really struggle with, and that the more they know, the more they can be supportive at home. So we're looking to build capacity within our parent and guardian community, PTA, ELAC, in collaboration with our associated student body to increase a sense of belonging and make sure that our students and their parents and guardians have what they need to be successful. Thank you.
And I would like to introduce Principal Stephanie Coe from Hamilton.
Thank you for that. Good evening, everyone. I'm losing my voice, so I'm going to try to be a little quicker. When going through this process of deciding what our focus goals should be and going through our data and going through our programs, one of the things that really stands out as one of our successes is finally an increase in our CASP scores. Coming out of COVID annihilated most of us, and Hamilton hasn't seen some significant increases in our CASP scores until this last 22-23 school year. So that is something that we have celebrated with our staff just recently, and we feel like it's attributed to several different factors, including our interventions. We have a rise to attribute to a lot of our in-school intervention, but also the use of our funds, having instructional aides in every grade level to provide pull-out support for our students, and then also following Lori Nuno's example and putting a robust CAS prep plan together in the spring of last year. And so we're going to start that actually earlier this year so students are more familiar with what those questions look like. It's not just about the academics and when do they understand the material, but also like how the questions are asked of our students. So that's a huge success for us. We, as many, have been on this PBIS journey that we started last year, and so that's a success, and also continuing to be as we put more pieces. It's very different implementing PBIS for a kindergarten or first grader than it is for an eighth grader, and so how to navigate that so it is successful for our students, and so they have incentive to continue with positive behaviors. We implemented SOAR because we are the Hawks. And so we have SOAR Bucks, we have a SOAR store that kids get really excited, even the eighth graders, to spend their SOAR Bucks on little items to increase their behavior. And we hear them talking about soaring on campus all the time, which is really cool to hear. Our focus for this year, as it has been since we've gone on this PBE journey, but I feel like finally we kind of have our teeth in it, where our teachers understand where they are in the process. It's very individualized. We can't even talk grade levels. We have to talk about people and teachers and where they are on the continuum. I hired a lot of brand new teachers to NUSD who are just starting on this continuum, and I have veteran teachers that have been a part of this work and are on our teacher leadership team. So what individually does it look like for each one of them? It was one of their goals that I had them focus on for the year, and we've been providing time within our site PDs and our site staff meetings for them to do like a group PLC where they're working amongst their teams, but they're all in the same space so they can reach out to veterans and right there in the moment to kind of move their work forward. So that's an area of focus. And then also we're on the journey of becoming a community school and hopefully receiving that implementation grant. And we're working with Tanisha Tate. So that's one of our areas of focus for this year.
All right, questions from the board for middle school principals, comments? Okay, we'll continue on. Oh, yeah, Trustee Pickus.
Really quickly, congratulations. I mean, I love the data in here, being able to look at the CASP scores and just seeing increases across the board. Obviously, so much of what we do is in service of academic improvement, so that's really exciting. Congratulations.
All right, we'll move on.
Right. Now we're going to hear from our elementary principals. And again, some common elements that we are establishing throughout the elementary system. Establishing a love of learning, building positive behavior expectations, you've heard quite a bit about this evening, and creating a sense of community. All right. And I would love to introduce Principal Langford from San Ramon.
Good evening. Thank you for having us. Thank you for listening, and thank you for doing reverse order for the first time in 9 years, so San Ramon doesn't have to go last tonight. It's great to be here, and so our successes from last year, I want to focus on teaching and learning. We have a lot of areas that the data demonstrated that we had growth. We increased our resources and our funding to give as many opportunities for small groups to all of our students as we could. Dolphin Lab we presented to you guys in the spring is one example of that. Our universal access proved to be successful as well as we increased staff, so we had more opportunities with math intervention. We ensured that we used data at every staff meeting to look at our intervention groups and ensure that we were supporting the students that needed the most support. Our CAS scores also increased. Both areas overall were over 60% of our students met or exceeded standards. So we increased 12% in ELA and 6% in math. And then also the implementation of proficiency-based education, where we were able to use the learning maps and educate our community more on that. So the other area that we also work on educating our kids is also the social-emotional area, and we had a lot of successes in the area of behavior supports and systems. So we, as many of our sister schools, developed PBIS and some of these different structures for behavior matrices and procedures at school were effective. We created the FINS for a positive support and recognizing the students. So F is for finding solutions, I is for including everyone, N is never giving up, and S is sharing kindness. We developed weekly SSTs where we have a floating roving sub every Friday. And so we were able to have almost 100 SSTs next year by being able to build them into the school day. So we're really learning more about how to support our kids. And then finally, using data also for our social emotional programs. So we created a counseling exit and entrance screener to make sure we're gaining the data that we need for our kids, and also using the DESA to support and create lessons for what they need. So then our big area this year for focus is attendance and engagement. The first part of that is obviously communicating with our community how important attendance is, and if the students aren't in those seats, they're just not ready to learn the same. We also have developed an attendance team. So each week we have an attendance team that meets, that looks over the data, develops a plan to engage students in school, and also communicate with our staff where we are. So our goal for our average daily attendance this year was to increase to 96%. And I'd like to say that today our ADA is actually 96.7%. So we're already achieving our goal. And then also for chronic absenteeism, last year we had over 68 students that were chronically absent. We wanted to cut that in half, and right now we're at 4.5%. We only have 20 kids chronically absent, so moving along. Thank you.
Okay, and I would like to introduce Principal Catherine Nam from Rancho.
Good evening. Our first area of success is our Tier 2 small group instruction model that's working really well. We have a team of interventionists and teachers, and we meet in data cycles every 6 weeks by grade level, and we have substitute roving subs that we hire so that the teachers may work together as a collaborative with the data TOSA. Our kids flow in and out of that, and our highlight with this is really the strong team we have. The math intervention TOSA, the ELA para, the ELD para, and our teachers. That is really what's working really well, that collaboration with the data TOSA. That highlight is our communication and our flexibility of our staff members and our continual monitoring of our student progress, so they move in and out of those data cycles. Our second area of focus is PBIS, and you saw that a couple of weeks ago, so I'm not going to go into that tonight, but we're still focusing on that, and that's going really strong. This year, we really want to work on our PBE and making sure that all the learning maps are in the hands of the students and being given out to families as well. I really want the kids to have their metacognition, and when I walk in the classroom, for them to be able to tell me what they're learning and where they need to go and how they're going to get there. For example, when I walk into a 5th grade class, I want them to say, oh, Mrs. Nam, we're learning how to multiply fractions, and this is what I know about that, not I'm on page 83. So we're really working on that. And I'm already seeing so much growth, and that's because of the system that we have this year with our monthly grade level district-wide collaboration meetings, because the teachers are able to work together across all 3rd grade. They come back and they have the resources that they need, and I'm seeing those learning maps. I'm seeing kids highlight and use those learning maps now because the teachers have that opportunity to talk to their peers. So thank you for that time. And Rancho has one specific goal our teacher leadership team has come to me about, doing more cross-grade level articulation. So in our staff meetings, dedicating time for the 3rd grade teachers to talk to the 2nd and 4th grade teachers. So we really have more alignment going forward. We have the learning maps and we know what it looks like, but really giving them that time to talk and articulate with that. So that's what we're focusing on this year. Thank you so much.
I would like to introduce Principal Kwan from Pleasant Valley.
Hi, everyone. So to kick off what Pleasant Valley is highlighting from this past year on our SIPSA, we are celebrating our success with our multi-tiered system of support. I really do believe that every student at Pleasant Valley gets what they need, and it really is due to our amazing staff. Our data team meets weekly to look at student data and to ensure that they are getting the supports that they need and deserve. Our data specialist is a huge part of that, and we are also so grateful for our funding for our intervention teachers. who work collaboratively with our classroom teachers to make sure that they're cycling kids in and out every 6 to 8 weeks. And also our RBT and our data specialist also takes our DESA data to form DESA mini groups, really focusing on that social emotional support. And that leads us into our second success, which is our PBIS program. And like all the other birds of prey in Novato, our acronym is also SOAR. It's really unique, but it works. And I'm sure every week in the PV views, you see our kids get SOAR cards. It is a quick but really effective way of giving feedback to students that their choices are positive ones. Each week, we know it's working because our group picture gets bigger and bigger, and I have to spend probably an hour collecting all the kids to do a group photo, but it's something that the kids look forward to every week, and it's, I think, a nice way to honor them in our weekly communication to parents, and so they're aware of the positive work we're doing and emphasizing at our school. A success, I didn't follow the rules, but a third success and focus is our proficiency-based education. Our team is really taken with it. And our goal this year, we've really focused on common assessments last year, especially in math. We're working on that in ELA, but really making the goal of utilizing learning maps in every classroom. It looks different from every grade level because developmentally it's going to look differently in our TK kids than our 5th grade kids, but really showing that the maps are in the hands of students. They're reflecting on their learning and working collaboratively with our teacher to set goals. And it might look differently in our TK group, but we've all made a goal to utilize them twice per semester. And as a district goal, we're focused on chronic absenteeism, reducing that rate from 14.5% to 9.8%. And just like San Ramon, we've met our daily attendance goal. We're at 95.8%, and our goal this year was 95.5. So yeah, thank you.
Okay, and I'd like to introduce Principal Nuno from Olive Elementary.
Good evening. So I will start with some of our achievements from last year. So we have been very fortunate to be able to have a math intervention teacher, a reading intervention teacher, and an EL specialist who support our students 2 to 4 days a week in small groups, either doing one-to-one support or small group support. All of this, all of the data that we gather starts out in our target meetings at the very beginning of the year. We also do a phonics boot camp and a math boot camp at the very beginning of the year so that we know where every child is prior to starting all of our data cycles. Like all of the other elementary schools here, or most of them here, we do 6 to 8 week data cycles, and that is really to target interventions and make sure that we are providing the most intentional support for our students and that every student gets what they need. And then going on to another achievement is our PBIS. So we also looked at creating our common language and also our school-wide systems, making sure that we have expectations. So we are sharks, so we have our shark cards. We also have our Fantastic Awards assembly every month to support the positive behavior characteristics that we focus on. And then for our focus area, we also are looking at decreasing our overall chronic absenteeism from 20% to 15%, and then our ADA from 93 to 95% by working with Kirsten Grimm, who has greatly helped us. Actually, we are at 96%, and so that's been really good just by really communicating with our families and being consistent in our communication, and then also making sure that we're intentional in supporting our chronic absenteeism or students who are chronically absent, and then rewarding all of the students for just coming to school every day. We're also continuing the support around PBIS and our data cycles.
Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to introduce Principalman Chavez from Linwood Elementary.
Good evening. So I am new to Novato and to Linwood, and so I can speak to some successes that I see coming in. It's really a tremendous success to have our dual language school span the entire school. And so that was completed last school year. And to do that through a pandemic, through all that we've been through as a community over the last several years is really, really impressive and just makes me so happy and proud to be able to come in now and just work on building on all of the work that's already been done. So last year, two things that I can point to that are fantastic are there's a renewed family center with just a new space, and we're trying to bring that alive again because that's something that was not as commonly used when we weren't gathering together in one place. And we have the Mariposa Restorative Room, which is really supporting our kids who are having social emotional struggles. There's some proactive meetings in there with our restorative practices specialist. And that same restorative practices specialist helps to de-escalate kids and helps them maximize their time in the classroom. So that's been really helpful and wonderful to see, just get kids feeling comfortable and ready to engage in the learning that we know we all need to do. So we are now a fully dual language school. All of the curriculum had been identified to support our three goals, which are bilingualism, biliteracy, academic achievement, and sociocultural competence. And so now the work is just making sure that we have a clear articulation of all of that curriculum from TK up through 5th grade. So this year's focus, like many people, is multi-tiered systems of support. Thinking about the different tiers, tier 1, do we have a guaranteed and viable curriculum? Are the teachers all trained in the curriculum that we've identified? They're teaching phonics in 2 languages. They need to do an intentional rollout of the different literacy skills and make sure that they're clear on how those transfer in which grades. And so getting the teachers trained up in the curriculum that had been identified has been really important. And we have teachers who are so engaged and ready to do it. They're just ready to go wherever I'm ready to send them. So that's been fantastic. We also have been working on PBIS and making sure that's another tier 1 support. Do we have those positive interventions and supports in place for behaviors across the school? And then looking at tier 2, looking to see how are we supporting the kids who need the additional support right now. Fortunately, this year we have an interventionist for Spanish reading in the earlier grades. We have her currently focusing on our 2nd and 3rd graders who needed some explicit phonics instruction, and it's been really successful. Just getting the kids in there in the small group with a strong curriculum, we're seeing kids reading that came into the school year not reading, and that feels fantastic. We have English intervention for our older students in the 4th and 5th grades. And we've identified the students who need that intervention at this point based on data, based on our benchmarks that we know students should be reaching at this point in the year, or at this point in their trajectory in a bilingual setting. And we also have now identified a few people to do a few of our teachers to do after school math intervention, because the data pointed to a need for our 4th and 5th graders being really ready for those middle school math classes. And fortunately, we were able to put some of the resources towards that. So we're just looking at all the ways we can support our students. We have a fantastic crew of people who are extremely passionate about what we do, and a great supportive community. So can't wait to tell you more about it sometime.
Okay, I'd like to introduce Principal Patel from Lou Sutton Elementary.
All right, thank you. I always love sharing about Lou Sutton, so thanks for the time. All right, so like you've heard my team talk about over here, we also implemented our Tier 1 PBIS supports this past year, and so that was a lot about teaching the expected behaviors and then reinforcing them. You see our cheetah paws there, and I love to see the students just get so excited about getting those rewards. And what I really saw in the data around that is that around our youth truth data, students really felt that there's a positive culture at school and they felt a sense of belonging. We saw an increase in those areas. And then along that same culture of care, having intentional social emotional learning support specialist on campus who has also, I would say, been a great advantage to our DESA scores decreasing in the number of students who actually need that intensive support. So we went from 8% at the beginning of last year to 4% at the end of the year. So really celebrating that. Next area, a team of our intervention team. So as you've heard, we've had a really well-rounded intervention team along with paraprofessionals and our gen ed teachers to create a more robust universal access system so that we could support the needs of all students. And what's really come of that is data has become the conversation in all of our staff meetings. So we're really sticking to that kind of a conversation and making sure we're engaging in looking at student growth, but also the efficacy of our teaching practices. And then for our current year, as you've been hearing, we are working with DCAN in decreasing our chronic absenteeism down to 7% and increasing our ADA to 95%. You see our great cheetah hero who we love carrying around campus every Friday. He's heavy, come see him. So we have our tier 1 strategies, our targeted tier 2 strategies, and just like you've heard my colleagues say, we have hit the marker for chronic absenteeism. We hope to maintain that till June. And then our ADA right now is at 94.8. We're almost there. Come on, cheetahs. All right. Thanks for letting me share.
And I would like to introduce Principal Chima from Loma Verde.
Good evening, everyone. Like Amanda shared, it's nice to go in a different order, and with Hamilton joining middle schools is the first time in 9 years I've gone last. So I could say ditto, but I could also take a lot of time. This is actually, it speaks to the strength of our elementary principal team, is that really we could say ditto, and that's not so much as, well, we are all working on the same goals, but also we share and learn from each other, so there's a lot that's on our successes that came from ideas that came up in principals' meetings or discussions with my colleagues. A lot of things are the same. We did PBIS Tier 1 implementation, really looking at behavior like academic skills. You teach, you practice, you reteach, you support, and you celebrate. I'm not a big fan of acronyms. I'm a big fan of alliteration. So we have Bear Bravos, and we're not in the water or flying in the air. So we'll go with the pause. So that was a success for us. Another success from last year was really targeting LPAC reclassification, so looking at our students who were on the cusp of reclassification and really then just hounding them in the most lovable and positive way possible, talking about test strategies, giving them separate spaces to take the LPAC or take the Galileo with that focus of this is where you are, this is what you need to get, and why that's important. Very successful after school, our own version of ELOP last year, Bear Den, that was targeted to 4th and 5th grade students who were on the cusp and needed that additional support and engagement and providing them opportunities, and then really tracking that data. And then a goal for this year, like again, you heard from lots of colleagues before, really honing in on our data cycles. The picture there is one of our meetings. We now committed to having 6-week to 8-week cycles with 3 roving subs. The teachers are pulled out. They bring their data, have a meeting with our data specialist. We're really lucky we have a full staff this year. Reading intervention teacher, math intervention teacher, ELD, and an amazing data and SEL TOSA that really pull it all together for us. And that's the strength of Loma Verde, is the staff that works and is committed and passionate for what we do, and really centering all our conversations around data and asking those questions. What do they need to know? How will we know when they know it, and what will we do when they do learn it, or what will we do when they don't learn it? So really focusing on those things. Thank you so much.
Questions from the board for elementary? Trustee Millerick and then Trustee Jacobson.
Principal Chavez, welcome to Novato. You are among some of the brightest people in the educational world. You are lucky to be able to sit and talk to that collection of people. And at some point I would like to come visit your campus, so I will make a phone call and set up a time. Welcome to Novato.
I just wanted to say that a lot of what was talked about tonight from all grade levels is not so much about like reading and math. It's about the whole child. And sometimes people think that uneducated or people who are not in these rooms don't understand that. And I think that our data shows that putting that effort in and making sure that our students are comfortable in their learning environments equates to success educationally. So I just wanted to say that all of you are working so hard and I really appreciate it.
Trustee Gasson?
So first, I really like this format. I really appreciated how everyone had the 2 points and then the one, so I thought that was great, and there's a lot to process. And one of the things that really struck me, Principal Nam mentioned the collaboration between the school sites and the grade levels, and I'm so pleased to hear that because I know that I don't believe that was happening, and so seeing that and everyone working together is just evident in the work that you guys are doing. One of the things, and I'm not even sure that I'm going to articulate this very well, but when the middle schools were speaking to the D's and F's, and I was, I'm glad that the data that we're going and we're finding those kids and helping them through, I flash back to my own experience with my own kids because there's such a transition from going from 5th to the environment of 6th, 7th, and 8th, and being responsible and having multiple classes and things like that. So at the time, I believe at PV, we were, the teachers were had a structure of how to help set up for success for middle school. And I just didn't know if that was still something that's done in 5th grade because we had, remote learning and all of that. I have a magnetic watch that keeps attaching to everything. So I just was thinking, it's maybe not, one of those bigger things, but it was just so instrumental because I can't tell you, I remember being on the field in Sinaloa. We were doing some lunch thing, and so many of us were like, oh my gosh, did you know that, my kid's got a D in this class? We've never had, and just because the kids are having to transition. So is that something that we're still doing for the 5th grades, or modifying a little bit and letting them kind of be a little more free in their assignments and,
I would say sorry. I don't want to speak for everyone, but I would just say that I know I spoke to Sinaloa last year about getting some of the planners, just because that organization piece has been huge for our kids. Just having so many classes and subjects to worry about, and also just managing all those different expectations from different teachers. One thing I think would be awesome is if we had that time to do some vertical articulation between just getting those kids ready and knowing what expectations or what life is like in middle school, maybe even a field trip, there's so many creative options, but again, time is always a factor, but I just, for our site, that's what we've been doing, is just giving them, we have made copies of kind of the planner so that they are kind of familiar with the format.
I think that's great, even just from a routine perspective, because I think you're focused so much when you're in, 6th grade, everything else is new. So having even just a sample, this is how you would do that, actually, that sounds like a perfect way to start. So anyway, thank you. I just, I know there's a lot for our kids and stuff, and I appreciate all that you do. So.
Anybody else? All right. Trustee Lametta?
I just wanted to say thank you for all of you for the work that you do. But I'm really also impressed of how hard y'all are working to decrease the chronic absenteeism, because I know it's not easy, and I know we've had a lot of issues in the last couple of years. So thank you so much for working on that. Just because we all know that once a child misses a day of school, it really hurts them academically. So thank you for doing that.
And I as well thank each of you for being here tonight. We're going to wrap up with this. I know we have to approve it, and I know there's a process that goes into getting to this night to get them approved. So thank you for enduring all of that. Each report is very well written. I know it's sort of like a reflection, but it also shows the work that we've been trying to do, the PBE, the PBIS, student voice, data-driven, wellness, social emotional. We're continuing that work, and that's what we need to keep doing, because a lot of times we get off on a different path or something new comes along. We have to continue what you're doing because you are making a difference. And that's what I like about this year, that there's not a lot of new stuff, but a lot of continuation. So thank you for the work that you're doing. And who's been slimed or silly string? So you took one for the team. Thank you. All right, so we need approval of the site plans for 23-24 school plans for student achievement. First by Trustee Gasson, and the second by Trustee Lametta. All those in favor? 6-0 and one student vote. Thank you. Thanks, Paige, for hanging in there.
Yes.
All right. Thank you
Still my
all
heart.
for being here tonight. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all. And I'll call you.
Let me turn my mic on. This is item 12B. This is approval of a resolution, 2324, finding BHM Construction as the best value contractor, award of the lease-back agreement. Hi, John.
Hello. Looking for approval of resolution for lease-back of the 4 sites for the HVAC for the 2024. BHM is the contractor that we're recommending for approval. There were 7 respondents to the lease-back RFP queue process. We did interview 4 contractors, and based on the rubric identified by District Legal Counsel, we found BHM to be the best value. Upon approval tonight, BHM will enter pre-construction services, and then we'll come back to you at some point with a TBR, total base rent contract proposal.
Trustee Miller?
What do you think the overall total cost is? Pardon me for not being on top of this.
Overall total cost for the 4 projects?
Yeah.
I think we're sitting close to 16 million.
Yeah.
I'd have to verify that.
Yeah, okay, but I think that's right. I was looking, I'm going with, I gotta add these together, okay.
And remember, we are coming back for some additional approval for the roof at the gym at San Marin.
At San Marin, right? It's not an air conditioning issue, but you're gonna make sure all the roofs are up to a current standard when you walk off the project, when you're done.
Exactly. We've got most of the roofs in the project already, but additional inspection needs to take place for the physical inspection for the San Marin gym roof.
Trustee Gasson.
A little off topic, but I'm just curious about the state of like the supply chain and pricing of things. Are we kind of settling down with construction?
I think a little bit. I think we're going to start to see some better pricing. I'm hopeful that we are. As far as supply chain goes, I've gotten word from the HVAC manufacturer that lead times have improved. I think the air handling units, which are the big units, are like at a 20 to 25 weeks right now. And I think we're at 6 to 8 weeks for the smaller VRF units.
Okay. I just realized I've kind of lost some context on how, we've been doing stuff early because everything was so complicated and was hoping that things are.
And we've started the CMAS process. You guys approved that.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the submittal process there. I think we've got approval on 2 of the 4 sites for the equipment. And we expect to get approval or at least response next week for both San Marin and San Ramon.
All right, thank you.
Trustee Miller?
I'm sorry I didn't call ahead. Does this equipment replace both the heating and the air conditioning, heating and cooling system? Are these heat pumps?
Yeah, yeah.
So that actually improves our efficiencies over burning natural gas to heat and.
Absolutely.
Right? Is that
yes.
true?
Yes, that's true.
Okay, good, thanks. That's where I thought the industry was going. Thanks.
Oh, Paige.
Sorry, this is kind of also off topic too. So for the re-roofing thing, is it just the main gym and the mini gym? It's not any of the other buildings on campus, correct?
No, it'll be the other buildings as
Oh,
well.
it will be
Yeah.
all the buildings.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
That roof's 30 years old.
I don't believe it's every building. I think the 700 wing doesn't get re-roofing. I think there's some sheet metal work that takes place there.
Anybody else? All right. We'll
I'll
do a
take
roll
I'll move,
call.
I'll move
vote.
to approve.
Okay.
And thank you for bringing this forward. And
Trustee Miller as a first, a second. Trustee Gasson is a second. And I'll do a roll call vote because it's a resolution. Trustee Miller?
aye.
Trustee Pickus?
Aye.
Trustee Lametta?
Aye.
Trustee Gasson?
Aye.
Trustee Jacobson?
Aye.
And Trustee Butler is aye. So that passes 6-0, 1 absent. All right.
That roof was put on in 1995, I think. So.
All right, we'll move on to 12C. Thanks, John. Thank you. We're going to move into our policies. We have several of those for the next few items. So.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you calling me back here to talk about board policies. Our state legislators were very busy this past summer and gave us a lot of fun updates and new policies to review. So the first one that we're bringing to you is complaints concerning instructional materials. And this is kind of the board policy, the AR, and also an exhibit. Basically, it's a new law that's requiring the California Department of Education to create guidance and public educational materials to ensure all Californians can access information about educational laws and policies that safeguard the right to an accurate and inclusive curriculum. And so it outlines when it's unlawful discrimination for a governing board to refuse to approve the use or prohibit the use of any textbook, instructional material, supplemental instructional material, curriculum for classroom instruction. And then it also provides a process for individuals who have complaints regarding the curriculum that's used and the process of how to go about resolving those complaints and concerns. So those are the complaints concerning instructional materials, policy, AR, and new exhibit form that folks would use to share their concerns.
Yeah.
For clarification, I'm looking at my agenda, and I'm under 12C, and then I turn the page, and it's A, B, and C, but not indented. Are all three of these A, B, and C we're ticking together?
Please.
Board policy 1312,
Yeah.
1312, all of that together?
Yeah, because it's the
Okay.
board policy, the AR, and the exhibit.
Yeah, okay, I just want to make sure
Yeah,
that
yeah.
that I'm seeing what you're intending. Thank you.
All right, if seeing no questions or comments regarding it, approval?
Yes, with a quick comment, which
Yes.
is just to acknowledge the importance, I think, of this particular piece of policy, which creates and solidifies an opportunity for a member of our community to have a complaint and concern about something that's happening in our classroom, but also safeguards our curriculum and ensures that our curriculum provides a diverse perspective and diverse experiences, which I know is really important to us, but I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge that this is really important, and I appreciate that this is coming to our school.
And I just want to say, this is first read, so I can bring them back for
That's right.
next.
So you move.
All right.
And I move approval.
Okay, for first read, a second. Trustee Lametta a second. All those in favor? Okay, 6-0, and 1 student board member vote. All right, 12D is Francesca, Franny. This is board policy 4215.
All right, good evening, everyone. What you have in front of you is Board Policy 4215, Evaluation Supervision. This has to do with our classified employees, and we're just bringing this forward as a first reading. It has not previously been in our board policies, but we have the same policies in place already for our certificated members and our administrative members. So we're just wanting to make sure we include classified procedures as well. And just as it states in the policy itself, everything regarding evaluation, like with our certificated members, it's all subject to the collective bargaining agreement.
Okay. Board, anybody? Trustee Miller?
Reading.
Okay.
Hello.
Trustee Miller?
Okay.
second by trustee Jacobson. All those in favor? 6-0 and 1 student member.
All right, and I'll plan on bringing this forward on consent.
Yep, yep.
Next time.
Any first reading will, if there's no issues, we'll go right to consent on the next board meeting on the 19th. All right, this is the 5,000s. This is 3 policy, or 3.
2 policies and 1 regulation. This one, and thank you, Anna, for sticking around for this policy. If there's any other additional questions, Anna will help respond to this. But for this new policy, to come to NUSD, it basically explains that the board recognizes that the students' social, emotional well-being and mental health are critical to their ability to perform to their full capabilities academically and both personally. And so this plan, this policy kind of creates an integrated plan to support student mental health and really helps, the CDE will create new guidelines for school districts to help support mental health. And we will also be required in grades 6 through 12 to create mental health posters so students know how to access and get services for any mental health needs. The next board policy is 5144.4, required parental attendance. And this is a new policy as well, and one is mandated. It's to use to allow teachers to require parents or guardians to attend a portion of the school day when their child has been removed from the class for specific behavior issues. And so this is new, and I think it's kind of a wonderful way to help work collaboratively with our educational partners and our families if students are in difficulty. And the AR 5144.4, again, required parental attendance is just kind of the specifics of how to organize and how to set up the meetings to have the parents or guardians come and support their child in the classroom.
Okay. First reading again. Anybody? Trustee Lametta? You making a motion? Oh, okay. First by trustee Lametta, second by trustee Jacobson. All those in favor? Okay, 6-0 and 1 student board member. You're just like.
Okay, good. I just got excited because I visited Sinaloa and I just saw all the signs of like, this is where you get mental health, and they were both in English and Spanish. So
good. And just kudos to Anna. Kudos to Anna and her team. Everybody's working really hard on that. So fabulous. Good.
All right, moving on to 12F, 2 board policies.
Okay. I have board policy 6163.1, library media centers. And this policy is recognizing the importance of library and media centers and the crew that helps support all our students. It also kind of discusses when it's unlawful discrimination for the board to refuse to approve the use or prohibit the use of any textbook, instructional material, supplemental instructional material, or other curriculum for classroom instruction. And again, there's the CDE has to issue by July 1st, 2025, guidance regarding how to review instructional materials that are ensuring diverse perspectives and culturally relevant material. And then finally, kind of it gives another process for how to address complaints concerning any kind of instructional material and how we would address that. And so that's the library and media centers. And then board policy 6178.2, the regional occupational center program. This is a new board policy. And this policy basically allows students from from various school districts to attend career technical education, CTE programs at a designated facility, regardless of geographic location. So for example, and Daniel, thank you very much for sticking around this evening. We have a number of our students who are attending classes at Terra Linda High School and through the consortium with the Regional Occupational Center through the Marin County Office of Education. And so this kind of says this is okay to do this, and you may hold these classes on campus should at some point we ever get to that point and decide to go there.
Okay, trustee Miller?
Relative to the CTE program, does that also work with the classes at College of Marin Indian Valley, the auto classes and other machine shop classes that are up there?
It does.
This guy seems like he wants to
Daniel,
talk.
do you want to address anything too?
I succeeded. That's.
Good evening. To address your question, yes, we do have a new program that started this semester with a cohort with COM as well as Novato, where we have students taking the auto program at COM campus. We also have a COM program over at Novato High School. It's our patient healthcare, where students are now getting their EMT, EMR licenses.
So pardon me, are you with Novato Schools or are you with Carol Linder?
I'm sorry. I apologize for not introducing myself.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. My name is Daniel Mikla. I am a Marin County office employee, but I am funded and support exclusive to Novato Unified School District.
Okay.
So we get the secret perks. Anything from the county, I'm going to push to you guys first. I'm like one of yours, but on the outside.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I look forward to expanding
Sort of on the outside.
expanding those relationships. There's a lot of students that graduate from the Novato School District that may have a better and more economically sound school career in the trades or some other capability. They may not end up, a four-year education may not be the right thing for them. Maybe some other path will be. And I'm thrilled that this door is open and you're here to help us succeed and our students to succeed.
Absolutely, and I'm a big fan of having your cake and eating it too. And so for our students to be able to have the college readiness, but also career readiness, we get both. And if they don't like a program, you know what? That's still a success because they don't waste 4 years of their college education in finding out something they don't want to do.
Exactly, exactly. So thank you very much, and that's my question. If you're waiting for a motion, I'll be happy to move, but.
Yeah, anybody else? Okay, I would like a
I'll
motion.
move to adopt item F, the 6,000 series for first reading back as a consent item.
Yep, thank you. Second? Trustee Pickus is the second. All
Thank
those
you
in
very
favor?
much.
Thank you. I'll be back next month for a presentation.
Oh, okay, that's what I was just gonna, we need a CTE staff report or something. I'm just gonna throw that.
Right, and if anybody's interested, Monday we have our first CTE advisory committee meeting as well.
Yeah.
So, you know what, it's here at 4 o'clock? 4 o'clock in room 107. If anybody's interested in attending, please feel free to come.
4 o'clock Monday? Okay.
So Julie, let me just thank you for all your work on all these policies. I know your break was probably filled with reading some of this on an airplane or something, I don't know, in a car probably, but you're making it happen and we're getting up to date and we really appreciate it. I know there's other stuff, but you're getting the brunt of the policy updates, have a feeling, so.
It's all, I have a
thank
great
you
team of support too.
for the
Thank you
work,
guys,
and to have
everybody.
Anna here and Daniel, and for backup. I mean, that's just you've thought it through, and we appreciate that.
And
so.
Ellen and Tracy, can't thank them enough, so thank you, thank you.
Okay.
My hope is to come to that meeting Monday at 4, so thanks.
All right, so that concludes the policy review, and our last discussion item is 12G. This is discussion of the board members' discussion of officers. This is something we do every single year, just prior to our organizational meeting for the board, which happens in the second meeting of December, and that'll be on the 19th of December. So we want to make it transparent here and have a conversation about the next role of leadership as board president and vice president. And so we've attached the kind of what entails in those positions, and obviously vice president doesn't have that much, but there is a little more to it than maybe just that. Okay, so let's just open this up. This is just discussion only because we'll actually make the motions and make those changes on the 19th, but we want to have a nice discussion here of who's interested and go from there. So I will open the table or open it up to anybody who would like to express an interest in board president or vice president. Typically, though, I'll just say typically, but vice president, the reason for vice president is to move into the board president role. They've had a year of being involved in a lot of the stuff that happens at the president level. It gives them an idea of what that role is. They can kind of move right into the president with knowing exactly what's happening. It's a nice transition. So that's our usual process. Sometimes that doesn't always happen, but that's what we usually do. So, okay. Trustee Jacobson. I have to kind of tee it up, sorry.
I would like to express my interest in the role, and I think I've had a great foray into that via you and your expertise, and so thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
And would love the
okay
challenge.
All right.
Opportunity.
Anybody else?
I would support Trustee Jacobson. She's done the hard work this last year to learn the ropes, and I think she will serve us well. So I would vote for her for president.
I obviously support you as president as well, working closely with you this last year, and you're definitely ready to move into this position, and you will do just fine. So, anybody else? Vice President, anybody interested in doing that at all?
I think it's time for us to look to our new trustees for a vice president. I've done this before, but this board is in a transition, and I would hope that, Magali, you would think of considering this. It'd be my ask of you tonight.
Yeah, yes, Magali.
Thank you for your kind words, Ross. Yeah, I'm interested. I've learned a lot this year. Madam President, you've been very good about supporting Abby and I during this transition from learning all the things at the beginning of a year ago.
Yeah, when you first started.
Yeah, when we first. So it's been great so far, and yeah, I welcome the challenge to serve.
Only thing for when the person steps into the vice president is the time commitment is what I always like to remind that individual. It's every week, meeting for agenda planning, it's attending meetings that maybe not every board member attends because the president or the superintendent would like leadership there at a meeting. So it might be adjusting your schedule, things like that. It'll add to your schedule for sure. So just keep that in mind. Anybody else? And I support Magali as vice president as well. So you will be just one more thing for you to add. Yeah, Abby.
I'd add my support. I love working with you and really appreciate your perspective that you bring. Thank you for your support of the new trustees. And when I have more time, would love the opportunity to step into that role. So down the road.
Definitely. Okay.
And I'll add that I greatly enjoy and respect Magali and enjoy working with her. So I think that would be a great matchup.
Great. Yeah, it does. You kind of want to be with somebody that you can. Yeah. All right. If there's no other further discussion, I'll just close that item then, and we'll look forward to the 19th. All right. The next board meeting, though, is next week, next Tuesday. We're here for the next couple Tuesdays in a row. It's at 5 o'clock here. It's a special board meeting. It'll get posted. It's going to be televised and on YouTube and everything when we hold it. And then the meeting after that is the 19th, and then we go into our winter break. All right. This meeting's adjourned.